Okay, before solving this question, we need to remind ourselves the following rules from binomial expansion. So a plus b multiplied by a minus b is equals to a squared minus b squared. And then we also need to know that a plus b squared is just equal to a plus b multiplied by a plus b, which is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Now, another one that we have to know is a minus b squared is just equal to a minus b multiplied by a minus b, which is equal to a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Finally, the square root of a multiplied by the square root of b, it is just equal to the square root of ab. Very, very, very important for this question. Okay, now let's start working out this. Now, the very first step, we need to add. And for us to do the addition, we are going to have a common denominator by multiplying what we have in the denominator. So, therefore, in this case, we are going to have the square root of 3 minus the square root of 2 multiplied by the square root of 3 plus the square root of 2. Okay, so we are starting with what we have inside the bracket. So the first number, this value here, when you divide it with the denominator, that the common denominator that we have here, you are simply going to get the square root of 3 plus the square root of 2. So you multiply with what you have up in the numerator. It's going to be the square root of 3 plus the square root of 2 squared. And then minus, over here we have the square root of 3 plus the square root of 2. When you divide with what we have in the numerator, you are going to get the square root of 3 minus the square root of 2 squared. Now, when you square let's work out what we have in the numerator first. In the numerator, our answer is simply going to be, by using the difference of square formula, we are going to have 3 minus 2. But when you work out what we have in the numerator, you are going to find 3 plus 2, the square root of 3, the square root of 2 plus 2. Then minus, you have 3 minus 2, the square root of 3, the square root of 2, and then plus 2. All this. Now, by simplifying what we have there, the numerator is going to be 1. So anything divided by 1 is just the same thing. So we should just focus on what we have in the numerator there. So we are going to have 5 plus the square root of 2. The square root of 3 times the square root of 2 is going to be the square root of 6. So 2 the square root of 6. Then we are supposed to be subtracting 5, because 2 plus this 3 here is 5, and plus the square root of 2 the square root of 6. So 5, you subtract 5, is simply going to be 2 the square root of 6. So we have 2 the square root of 6 plus 2 the square root of 6. It's going to be 4 the square root of 6. And then now you are going to multiply this by 50. Hence, our solution is going to be 200 the square root of 6. That's our final answer. All right, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Please keep here to get updated of interesting questions. Bye bye.